Hi everyone, this is Maria from Global Gaming Insider, and today I'm joined by Jody Frost, Head of Marketing and Brand and Clarion Gaming, and a very good friend. Hi Jody, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Hey Ray, I'm really, really good, thank you. It's Monday and we're mid-campaign for ICE and IGB, so yeah, crazy times, but lots of really exciting stuff happening. So yeah,
It's
keep
very
us going.
exciting indeed, and it's getting close. I feel like we've just the 2025 event has just happened, and already it's time for the 2026 one.
I can't believe it. Yeah, it runs
Yeah.
too quickly now. I think it's either me getting older or time speeding up, but it just feels like we had such a great time for the 25 show, and it was such a sort of like really big moment for everyone. But then we went straight into IGB Live as well, which was really
Yes.
exciting, and you kind of like it used to feel like we'd have kind of a bit of a bit of
A
downtime.
downtime.
Yeah, now it just feels like it's from one moment straight into the next, and you start the next cycle, and yeah, it's very, very, very
Y-
exciting. But yeah,
Yes. And as you say, both, I would say both IGB affiliate in Barcelona, ICE, and then IGB Live in London, all those shows, they left such a lasting impression on everybody attending. So I feel like we've been talking about them for the full year, pretty much.
thank you. Well, that's
In the
obviously
industry. Yeah,
that's lovely to hear. So,
yeah, it just shows like the great work that you guys did. So
thank you,
congratulations.
thank you
And
very much.
I'm very, very excited about January.
Yeah,
So let's talk about 2026 events. The creative themes you have for 2026 are growing the power of play for ICE and Are You Ready to Find Your Edge for IGB affiliate. They feel bold, energizing, they're very colorful. Can you talk a bit more about them? How did those creative themes come to life? How long was the process? What do they mean?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, it's probably one of the really, I suppose I'm going to say one of the fun parts of the job for me is really kind of trying to listen to the sort of take the temperature of the industry and really listen to the themes that are developing, what changes are happening, and how people are perceiving the whole industry. And I suppose if I start with ICE first, like all of these great creative companies, they tend to come from like one of our main truths, and effectively what we want to try and do as the marketing team is to capture what the show is all about, but in a really interesting, exciting, and hopefully colourful way. Because that's what gets people's attention, and how we can kind of like enforce our messaging. It just gives us a creative hook that people can really kind of hang on to. So for the longest time now, like ICE has been, I suppose, such a central part in terms of the growth of the industry, and certainly my tenure as leading the marketing team over at Clarion. The like the that particular moment in time is really when the whole industry comes together, and ICE sort of has become like almost this garden of technology, for wanting to sort of stretch the metaphor a little bit. Um, and basically, that's really where we started from. It's sort of like, well, what's every year we want to ask what's different, what's happening, what's changing, what can we use as a sort of creative thought to really bring this to life. And of course, with the development of AI and technology moving faster and faster at a blistering pace that like no one's ever seen before, um, as we probably said last year as well. But this really gives us a moment in time where ideas have been planted, and we kind of felt, well, last year was all about the move to Barcelona, right? And all about sort of the relocation. And certainly from our side, it was very much like looking to new horizons and new things that were happening. But this year, the kind of sentiment is like we've done a lot of the groundwork. We were talking about sort of like explore the new ecosystem of gaming last year. We were sort of sowing those seeds, and that began to come into a bit of a theme around sort of like this sowing seeds for future growth, and growth really became the kind of key driver for this year. Um, and I suppose more and more we see some really great innovations, some really great technology, some really great games, some great experiences coming out of the gaming industry, which really, really enhance people's enjoyment of the entertainment that they get from gaming. And I think that power that you have when you play a game, like that moment when people might, I don't know, buy a lottery ticket or put some money on a horse or something, that there's a great degree of excitement and power in that moment when they're playing. And I suppose we really wanted to become a way of expressing that, driving the conversation around entertainment and the great entertainment the industry can bring, but looking at the power of that and what can actually, what good that can do for people and for players and for business and for the industry and so on and so forth. So that kind of became the guiding thought that then materialized into growing the power of play. And I'd like to sort of think of it as that garden that helps foster that growth.
That's so beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for clarifying all that. It's you guys really put a lot of thought into it, and I'm so glad we're talking about it because sometimes I feel like that can get overlooked. Because obviously, when we talk about shows, we talk about, oh, so what's new, what's the conference going to be about, so how many new exhibitors, and we rarely actually get a chance to talk about the creative, which is also so important. And you guys always nail it every time. I love the
Give them try.
2025 one. I love the 2026. And every year you have a new creative theme. So how hard is it actually to come up with something new um, that still
Yeah.
aligns with the DNA of ICE and IGB affiliate?
I suppose it's always a challenge, but I think what it forces you to do almost is to really think long and hard about the value that you're bringing to the industry and what we're trying to do as an organization and an event to really support the industry, and almost putting it into a creative thought makes you kind of really strip back all of those ideas and like, what is it that we're really here to do? What are we doing that's different and better than perhaps other shows in the industry? And I think like there's a beautiful piece around sort of trying to make things really, really simple and really, really engaging by getting things down to their core parts. So I think the design process really forces us from a strategy perspective to think quite long and hard about that. If you think about the IGB affiliate show for a moment as well, we've got the sort of the place to find your edge, which is very, very different. Like they're two, it's a sister show, it's a show within a show basically, but equally, the propositions are quite different. We have ICE, the place the world of gaming goes to do business, and we have IGB Affiliate, which is like the home of this wonderful iGaming affiliate community. And really, like ICE is about bringing everyone together, and IGB Affiliate is very much focused on a real niche need for affiliates to meet affiliate programs. And it's a really kind of pure play, like, people are going there to sell traffic to operate. That is, it's almost the simplest way to describe the show. And because it's so competitive, we know that year on year, the buying cycles are moving, technology is moving, as I mentioned, regulation is always changing. So having the ability to get together at that point in time in January, um, if you're there, you get to see how the business is developing, how the industry is developing, how regulation is developing, and it can really give you that advantage. So just going to the show and being there, networking with people, having, I think we estimate this year there's going to be something crazy like over 1.5 million meetings that are going to happen throughout the course of the
Oh
whole
my
of World
God.
Game. Yeah, it's insane numbers. So though any one of those interactions, those connections, those conversations, they can really create an advantage by two parties coming together. So that value that's created by getting those two people into the room is an amazing thing. It can really give a business the edge. And that's kind of where the creative thought comes from that. But it sort of dials back to what the brand is all about and what the show is all about, and what are, I suppose, why we exist and what we're here to do for the people who are the most important to the future of our business, and that's our customers and the audiences that come to our shows.
Wonderful. The venue for boat shows, Fira Grand Via, it's very modern, it's very expressive, it almost begs to be used creatively. How can you leverage the venue to display those beautiful creative campaigns that you guys have created?
So I must confess, like the first time I walked into the theatre, and this is going back to sort of, I think it must have been early 2024, whenever it was that we announced it. Like no one knew internally where we were going until it was announced to the public. So we didn't know as a team where it was going to be, and we hadn't visited all of the venues. But the first moment I walked into the theatre, and you have that huge um, sort of open space. It's got this gorgeous sort of Gaudi inspired architecture anyway, which, you know, for someone like me is really, really exciting. It looks totally different. It's not a stark purpose built building that's very functional. It's just a beautiful piece of architecture, very exciting, as you'd expect pretty much anywhere in Barcelona. But when I walked into that sort of atrium where we have like the registration for ICE and IGB affiliate last year, interestingly, IGB affiliates moved to the other end of the campus this year. But there's this gorgeous sort of like circular video screen that runs all around it. And the moment I walked in there, I was just like, this is going to look so good. Like, you know, I think moving image and videos and animation and graphics is such a core part of what certainly our customers do in the halls. But you know, having big screens to play with to really sort of bring to life these creative platforms is an absolute dream. Particularly when you walk up to the front of the building and you've got sort of huge, great big LCD screens that are playing like the animations of the graphics and things like that, and creating messaging points for customers and visitors. It's just a real dream. So you kind of, I think it certainly gives you a great canvas to play with, and it's really, really exciting. It's also a little bit daunting because it's of the scale of the place. I think I went to see a couple of other shows there to see how they were doing it, and I was like, oh, you really have to go big in this place because if you don't, it looks like a great large screen TV stuck on the wall there looks like a postage stamp. So it's very much trying to work with um, the spaces that we've got, the areas that we've got. You know, primarily whilst it has to look and feel great, all of the communication has to perform a function. Like it's there to give people directions to where they need to go. It's there to make sure they can navigate the show. It's there to hopefully inspire a bit of excitement about the connections they're going to make. So it all has a reason for being. And I think, you know, we have to very carefully kind of plot that journey through the different touch points where we can take a few moments to surprise and delight people and just make, you know, everyone's day a little bit better, but also just to get people really, really excited about going in to meet the people that they're about to meet that they wouldn't meet anywhere else in the world.
Oh, I absolutely, absolutely agree. And again, I think this is again something that I think we often underestimate as visitors. You guys have so much work to do branding that venue and making sure that the rest of us feel welcome and that we know where we are and we know where we're going. And honestly, thank you for doing all those things.
You
It really does make a difference. And yeah, I do feel sorry that sometimes it may feel like it goes unnoticed, but actually we do notice it. We just never say it as visitors.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
And I totally agree with you. It's so important to make use of those massive screens and of everything the venue has to offer. And I think we see that with exhibitors as well. They're trying to incorporate modern technologies in their stands. AR, VR, things like that. Have you already heard from exhibitors for 2026? Are they going to be doing exciting things?
Yes, is the short answer. I think I remember going back to my first ICE, which I think was the 2023 show now. So it's almost been 3 years. But and I have never really worked in the industry or in the events industry directly. I came from sort of more of a FMCG background and more sort of advertising experiential background. But I had been to quite a few exhibitions. I had been to quite a few events, and I remember just walking onto that show floor and just being blown away. Like that our customers do makes the show what it is. It really is like the level that they deliver to, the kind of technologies that they employ, the ideas. I think, whilst a lot of the stuff that is going on for this year is already under embargo, in fact, I'm not really
Mm.
to
Oh,
ask about it. I've heard about it sort of secondhand. I think,
okay.
just to name check a couple of them really. Like there was some amazing screen technology that Entain were using last year that was
Mm.
just like he stood in the middle of it, and people were just blown away by it. And also other brands doing really cool experiential ideas, like Alia with their sort of oxygen tanks and things like that. Like they really kind of captured the information. Sport Radar did some really awesome stuff
I
last year.
agree. That was
Mm.
probably one of my favorite stands last year with the computer vision technology. Absolutely incredible.
Mm.
I was
Yeah,
even talking to them, asked them, how are you going to top that for 2026? And they were like, yeah, that is the big challenge. Everybody's asking us that.
that's it, isn't it? And,
Yeah.
always from one year to the next, you just see people doing stuff that's, not necessarily just bigger for the sake of it, but like just trying to find new and interesting ways to fundamentally to entertain people and to get people excited. And that's really what, the business is all about, like to deliver those experiences. Yes, of course we connect people. That is fundamental to what we do. And there is a real brilliance in sort of human connection. That's why part of the reason it's the role in events is so exciting. But equally, it's about creating that kind of excitement around what's possible, and like just unlocking those slightly more creative thoughts that really are not just about doing the job. They're not just about doing the same things we did last year. They're about sort of, well, what about if we tried this? Or it might be an idea that's created. Like the most creative, you get ideas from all sorts of different inspirations, and um, it's those things that really kind of make, I suppose, life exciting for me anyway. It's sort of like looking for sort of thinking, oh, what if you took that and put that together with this? And how would that work? And sort of how could we bring that together from a creative perspective that's going to create a value? And it's that terrible saying, which I always get the wrong way around, but that where the whole is far greater than the sum of the parts, and where ideas blossom. And to bring it back to that sort of like ice cream power play garden of technology piece, it's sort of like how can we create that environment where the ideas can really, really kind of unlock. And I think that's where actually being there is so super important, because you just don't get that from, virtual um,
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
connection.
Absolutely. Yeah. People have got to be there. So if anyone watching hasn't registered, register now. Book
Absolutely.
your flights, everything. Now you have to be there. This year was the first event in Barcelona, and as we spoke, Barcelona is such a creative city. Do you think our industry captured the spirit, the creativity of Barcelona?
Definitely. Yeah, it really did. And, it was an interesting piece. And when I started doing more work with people around what could you do in Barcelona, like one of the great things about ICE in London was that everyone had their kind of a lot of the questions were already answered for them. And I think going to a new city, certainly, like which restaurants do you go to? Where should you go and hang out? Where are the good bars? Where are the places that you'd want to go? So I went and did a series of videos with people who actually lived in Barcelona, and obviously I've now spent a load of time in there. We've got people on the ground out there as well, and you start to really get a feeling for the vibe of the city. Um, and I think it certainly brings a new energy to the show. Like, there's obviously links to other parts of the world. There's kind of like more of that cultural link with some of the LATAM visitors and things like that. But I think it just inspires people to kind of, I don't know, free themselves up a little bit more, and really kind of like, I suppose for me, hopefully express what their brands are all about on the show floor. And I think it just gives an extra flavour. Not to mention there's loads of croquettes as well, which is always a, a big favourite.
Of course, I totally agree. I think the industry really embraced Barcelona. I'm sure like everyone had no reservation, but I guess they were a bit worried, like because it's new, not familiar. As you say, London was like they knew where they were going. Everybody felt at home in London, even if they're not based here,
Yeah,
because the show's
absolutely.
been here for so long. But I think the industry itself completely embraced Barcelona. I think it worked beautifully. And I think it's only going to get better in the years to come as people get more comfortable in their new home in Barcelona.
And I think interestingly, like the industry has such a strong base in Barcelona as well.
They
Certainly
do. Yeah,
I
I
didn't
agree. And we didn't know this before.
Yeah, yeah. It was sort of really interesting when we started talking to more and more people. They were like, "Oh yeah, well we have our a central office there. It's a really good location for a lot of our customers, and certainly as well in terms of some of the work that we've been doing with the city and the universities, things like that. Like there's such a hotbed of talent and such an interesting digital sort of growth economy over there that yeah, it's a really really great city, and I think it suits us absolutely well.
Got only two more questions for you, and they're going to be fun questions. Like
Okay.
enough of gaming talk. So, because I know you love your art, if you were to compare ICE and IGB affiliate to a piece of art, what would they be?
So they're really good questions. I am cheating slightly on my second screen because I wanted to make sure that I get the right pieces. If I was looking at ICE, it feels whilst it's very, very current and very technology focused, it's also a really classic brand. Like it's been around for like 80 plus years already, I think, and it's got such a strong heritage. So I was going to reference a piece called The Tower of Babel by a guy called Peter Bruegel, who created this wonderful work of art called The Tower of Babel. And it's a painting, but it's supposed to depict like the center of the earth. And it's this huge kind of almost like iconic building that's got sort of multiple windows and multiple ways in, but it's got loads of people flooding in. It's like a celebration of all the trades coming together. And it just sort of created in my mind like a really nice metaphor for like bringing the center, being the global epicenter and the center of everything for gaming together in a really kind of iconic way. And equally sort of building on that narrative around sort of like, the Spanish influence and so on and so forth. So that would be my pick for ice.
Oh, I love that.
Mm. And the IGB definitely has to be something by Banksy. I was just trying to work out which one. And I think, certain.
It's tough to pick one.
It really is. It really is. Like those.
Let's say it changes to a new Banksy every year.
Well, that's it. I didn't. I was thinking about that this morning. Oddly, I was like, I wonder if anyone just goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm Banksy one day." Um,
I wouldn't be surprised.
but it's certainly there's become a really nice link actually. Like for the people who've been watching the show for last 2 or 3 years, certainly with the IGB Live and IGB affiliate, we've started to really build up this kind of pop art culture kind of mix where it's actually started having a direct influence on some of the creative that we have. Um, but yeah, so when I was thinking about it, like literally the first artist that came to my mind was Banksy, and I guess there's a couple of pieces like I think the one I landed on is called "Love Is in the Bin," which is the
Okay.
shot from the famous film Pulp Fiction, where you have John Travolta standing there in his really slick suit, very, very cool. But they, rather than having guns in their hands, they've got bananas, and it's just kind of like looking really great, being very, very business focused, but also being quite good fun as well. So that was sort of slightly less direct, but a bit of a metaphor for the show. Very business focused, but also doesn't take itself too seriously.
Oh, I love that. This is so good. I was thinking about how I would answer, and I genuinely don't know. It's so hard. And I was
Yeah.
thinking I would compare both shows to an exhibition by, the Japanese lady. I always say her name wrong, Yao Kusama.
Yeah.
She does those like infinity mirror rooms and art
Yeah.
with pumpkin. Everything is just so modern. Every time is different. It evolves, it changes, it's creative. So I will compare both shows to like one of her exhibitions.
Oh, I love
But I totally loved your answers, like amazing choices.
it very much.
And final fun question, outside of gaming, what brand do you look forward to?
Ooh,
Do you look up to? I totally asked that wrong.
that's a
Sorry.
really difficult one because I've like my background has always been brand and I'm very much a kind of brand strategist by training. And I've had the privilege to work on some really, really great brands that loads of people would heard of, and also some amazing brands that might be less well heard of, and some really interesting startups. I think for me, it's probably less about a specific brand because that all like probably be more dictated by what I'm thinking about at the moment. If it was a car, it would be
Yeah.
this. If it would
Yeah.
be, if it was, being very typical middle-aged man, if it was a watch brand, it might be this. But I think really for me, brands that are absolutely transparent and really talk authentically about what they're about, and are not worried about maybe not being right for everyone, being very accepting. So, I think anything that has a degree of authenticity, like, dare I say it, I've talked about brands when I'm talking about things like Apple and stuff like that,
Of
but
course.
the brands that really hold true to what they're there for. I think, there's brands like Methods, it's just in the the house cleaning that just is a really kind of inspirational story. There's so many I could keep them going forever, but things that have a very clear brand strategy and a purpose to do something, no matter what it is, but to do something better in the world is really important, because it's not just about what you do. It's always about why you do it, what's behind it, what's that motivating purpose that really drives you. And I think there's to be a great brand, and there's a really clear sense of purpose behind what they're trying to do over and above financial gain. And that's really what we're very much focused on, with all of our events and our media channels.
That is very well said. Thank you. Right. Thank you so much, Jody. It was so lovely to talk to you. I'm so excited for January. It's coming soon, counting the weeks now.
Wonderful. It's always an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thank you ever so much for giving me the chance to chat through some of the creative ideas. It's been great.
Thank you. Thank you, Jody.